Oh boy! A duty hat!
Hello and welcome to Cryptic Web Chronicles. In today's video, we'll be covering some of the worst tweets posted by internet lolcow and self-proclaimed troll hunter Patrick S. Tomlinson. This video might help provide some context for those of you still confused as to why Tomlinson is so widely hated online, and why the notorious online flame war involving him has continued for so long. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out my playlist documenting the story behind this prolific lolcow and the depths of his stupidity. As we will soon explore, Patrick's idiotic behavior garners negative attention not only from dedicated internet trolls and online followers, but also from complete strangers who encounter him on their feed. Due to his inflammatory posts online, Patrick seems to consistently attract new critics and detractors as more people come across his presence on social media. When you write over 100 tweets a day while acting like a belligerent asshole, it's just bound to happen. As you likely already know, various online communities closely follow and document Patrick's antics, contributing further to his growing infamy. Opie and Anthony forums and Kiwi farms are two of the more notable communities that have consistently followed Patrick, with the Opie and Anthony community being the birthplace of Pat posting. Reading Patrick's tweets, in my opinion, he often comes across as a fat creep who hides his true nature by posing as a women's ally type character online. But as literary agent and vocal Tomlinson critic Leslie Varney has pointed out, Patrick seems particularly drawn to verbally abusing women online. In December of 2023, discussing Patrick, another notable and vocal critic of Patrick on Twitter by the name of Mike would write, "He really gets his rocks off on calling women stupid, doesn't he? At virtually Leslie, just tagging so you can see you're not alone." Leslie would reply to Mike writing, "Yeah, I know. It's the primary reason I won't back down. Well, that, and I'm a Leo with an Aries moon and a Leo house, born in the year of the dragon and salmon. You know how that goes." As he and his merry band of snot-stringers started to pile on me, I was getting messages from women they had humiliated and trolled into deleting their profiles. So here they were, calling me racist, because I didn't quite buy the story that they were being terrorized by Nazis and the literal KKK, while their raving misogyny was overlooked. Still pisses me off no end. I lost friends over this shit, and that sucks. One of them threatened me physically, and my kiddo still worries about it. And it at least tarnished me. Crap, why'd I do this again? As you can see, Leslie has been deeply affected by Patrick and his ball washers attacks against her online. Patrick has quite literally threatened to sue her into poverty and end her career, all because she committed the sin of not agreeing with him and not playing along with his stupid victimhood games on Twitter. I theorize that the animosity Patrick feels towards women may stem from his first marriage, during which his wife cheated on him, before filing for divorce while pregnant with Pat's daughter. Patrick's wife then left him for a man named John, whom Pat was friends with at the time. Amazingly, there are even pictures of Patrick's wife sitting on John's lap during a party, before her and Patrick had separated. Shortly after learning his pregnant wife was leaving him for John, Patrick had a meltdown in front of his sister-in-law, during which he threatened to wait until his daughter was born, so he could murder the newborn, and then his soon-to-be ex-wife. He was arrested for these violent and sickening threats a short time later. This incident likely influenced the court's decision to remove all of Patrick's custody rights during the subsequent divorce. It's also worth noting that Patrick petitioned for the removal of all custody and parental rights, as well as child support obligations, citing that he didn't earn enough money to pay. In my view, this series of events solidifies Pat's reputation as a deeply problematic individual, and when O&A forum sleuths dug up this shocking bit of information, it only further amplified the scrutiny and disdain Patrick faced online. It was just more fuel being thrown into an already viciously raging fire. Let's take a look at Patrick's Twitter feed to see what he has to say about his first marriage in his own words. "A friend of mine volunteered to take over before my daughter was born without consulting me." A follower of his would reply, Not much of a friend, I'm sorry about that. Patrick would write back, I will live long enough to shit on his grave if it takes my last breath. As you can see, Patrick holds great animosity towards John, the man who raised his daughter from birth. In reality, John is likely the person Patrick's daughter sees as her real dad, as he was the one who raised her during the formative years of her life. Despite this, Patrick still occasionally mentions his daughter on Twitter, even though it's clear he has no part in her upbringing. Dear daughter, I hope you have amazing sex with partners of your choice as soon as you're ready. Patrick often faces provocation on Twitter, with trolls bringing up his divorce, 2011 arrest, and lack of involvement in his daughter's life. In response, he frequently engages with them, struggling to contain his anger. A search of his tweets reveals that he frequently uses phrases like stalker and enjoy prison multiple times a day, with thousands of tweets containing them. He also regularly threatens legal action or prison time when responding to trolls, naively believing that anyone calling him a fat idiot online is part of a criminal conspiracy against him. However, in my opinion, Patrick is both overweight and mistaken. By being a public figure, he invites scrutiny and criticism, and his responses only seem to provoke and encourage further trolling. In creating this video, I aim to determine how many times Patrick has used the word child on Twitter. Although I couldn't pinpoint an exact total, I did make a recording scrolling through every tweet he's posted with the word child since January 1st, 2024. This video compiles each instance of him using the term so far this year, and it's only August. As you can see, these instances likely number in the thousands. Patrick's responses to internet trolls are just one aspect of his online behavior. His personal opinions, political views, and various other ramblings also provide significant entertainment for his critics. Now, let's explore a broad range of Patrick's tweets, highlighting what many consider to be his worst. I thought we'd start off with Patrick's most repulsive posts and replies. I find these posts by Patrick to be gross, provocative, and disturbing. Get ready, because the following tweets are graphic. In a reply during a 2018 argument, Pat would write, 2 problems with your assumptions here. 1. I don't wear underwear too. I come most often in your mom's basement while she's strapped into that St. Andrew's cross. I made your cuck dad build as a condition for allowing him to watch me plow her asshole like a Nebraska cornfield. As you can see, Patrick not only posts crude, explicit, and foolish tweets, but he also seems comfortable sharing with the world the disgusting fact that he doesn't wear underwear. This is something he's brought up more than once, and for some reason he finds it important to share with other people. And I don't own any underwear. Too restricting. I don't wear underwear. No underwear. Ever. For some bizarre reason, this fat slob seems proud of the fact that he doesn't wear underwear. He's so retarded that he probably soiled them regularly and decided to stop wearing them altogether. The disgusting tweets don't end there though, so let's see some more. That is the rig I had to use to fuck your mom in the ass. After several failed tries, I finally got it up there after hitting 35 miles per hour. I don't read comic books, you barely literate mouth breather. Tell your mom I said hello and sorry about her ass. Your mom doesn't scream anymore, she's eager for it. I eat your mom with this mouth. Am I still a homo after I fucked your mom in the ass? Asking for all my friends who also fucked your mom in the ass. Eat my entire ass. Eat my ass or fuck off. Those are your only choices. Rape is the most mild punishment you deserve, followed by execution. As we can see, Patrick comes across as sexist and vulgar in these tweets, frequently fixating on people's mothers, asses, and rape. This behavior suggests he may be projecting his own unresolved issues, possibly related to his relationship with his mother, Mama Raven, among other things. In another series of cringe-inducing Twitter interactions, Patrick would reply crudely stupid and tone-deaf tweets to Lynn Thomas and her husband Michael. Lynn is a well-known podcaster in the science fiction scene who is an active figure in many circles Patrick is also involved in online. You see, Lynn and her husband Michelle had a child together that tragically was born with a rare genetic disorder known as Aicardi syndrome. Aicardi syndrome is known to cause malformations and underdevelopment in the brain, leading to seizures and intellectual disabilities. The Thomases would share their plight on Twitter as they both took on the full-time role of being caretakers for their developmentally disabled daughter. Often they would turn to Twitter to vent or share updates. In 2 instances, Patrick wrote embarrassingly tone-deaf and unfunny responses to dead serious tweets about the struggles they faced with their child. On October 31st, 2022, Michael Thomas would tweet, "Caitlin threw up. Sad face. Lynham Thomas and I haven't slept much in a few days due to the DSATs. We are very spent." Patrick would reply, "Cocaine for everyone. On the house." In another even worse instance, Lynn Thomas would tweet out, "I would have to sextuple my salary to both fund Caitlin's care and eat with HSAs." Patrick S. Tomlinson would reply like a weirdo, writing, "That sounds hot." Lynn would reply, obviously stressed about her situation, "Yeah, no, really not. Unless choosing between your kid and bankruptcy is hot." These tweets are painfully embarrassing to read, and I can't fathom why any reasonable person would behave like this online unless they were trolling. Patrick's responses show a striking lack of awareness and sensitivity, making them stiffly tone-deaf. The Thomases' daughter would later pass away due to health issues. However, I could not find any tweets where Tomlinson offered his condolences. Patrick's disrespect isn't limited to comments about others' mothers or cringe-inducing interactions about dying children. It also extends to his own wife, as some of the things he said about her online are equally baffling. In 2018, during a Twitter argument, Patrick would write, "Oof, I'm married and get puss whenever I want, child. I'm being a decent man for its own sake. Try it sometime." Another account would chime in, replying, "So being married entitles you sex or puss, as you call it, anytime you want? You are vile." Patrick would clap back, writing, "No, child. It's just available to me because my wife loves the D. Hug your pillow." In another instance, Patrick would reply to a tweet writing, "My family is my wife, and she feeds and clothes herself because she is a strong, independent woman who is addicted to the D." The Munich hotel room made up for being tiny and yellow by having an entire sex mirror wall, so there's that. Another weird thing I've noticed is that Patrick has a strange obsession with letting everyone know his wife is cis and that she's not a lesbian. I can only guess he does this because people assume she isn't, due to her man-like appearance. Regardless, Pat often goes out of his way to stress her cisgender and straight identity for reasons that aren't entirely clear. I don't have a girlfriend. I have a wife who is cis-female. No, stalker. I am very literally a man, and my wife is a cis woman. Enjoy prison. I'm not closeted, stalker. I'm quite straight and quite happy and comfortable with myself, my sexuality, my masculinity, and my cis-female wife. My wife is not a lesbian, stalker. Enjoy prison. And good for them. But I'm quite straight and very happily married to my cis wife. Our stalkers are fixated on gay sex because they are deeply closeted mental cases, ashamed of their own sexuality and sexual inadequacies, so they project onto strangers. As you can see, Patrick attempts to insinuate that his stalkers are gay, seemingly using it as an insult, while simultaneously presenting himself as an ally to the LGBTQ community, as shown in this tweet. "All I see is a pretty lady." Patrick wrote this tweet in response to an image of a man dressed in drag. Despite Patrick's claims of being an LGBTQ ally, he appears to be quite concerned about people perceiving him as gay. He has repeatedly insisted that he is not gay, and that his wife is a cisgender woman, not trans. This raises the question, if there's nothing wrong with being gay or having a transgender partner, why is he so adamant about clarifying his own sexuality to strangers online? To me, it almost seems as though Patrick believes there is something wrong with these identities, and gets embarrassed when people mistake him for being gay or having a transgender partner. However, matters get a bit more complicated with 2 additional tweets from Patrick regarding his sexual preferences. And little butt plug, ass play is not limited to homosexuals. It's enjoyed by all orientations. You're hated because you're a fuckwit. You think only gays suck dick? Oh, son, get out more. These tweets, in which Patrick apparently argues that performing oral sex on men is not necessarily gay, and that straight men often enjoy being anally penetrated by other men, add further complexity to the situation. When combined with his previous accusations that his stalkers are gay, and his bizarrely adamant insistence on being straight, these comments appear to me as highly questionable. And though this is purely speculation on my part and solely my opinion, I believe that this collection of tweets could suggest Patrick may be a repressed homosexual. His aggressive behavior online could even be a manifestation of the frustrations brought on by his repression. Either way, the things he's describing in these 2 tweets is not straight by any measure. There are some highly questionable leaked tapes that supposedly depict Patrick having gay sex with an unidentified man who many speculate to be Eric Hildeman, aka Hildy. However, none of this has been proven, and simply remains an online rumor for now. As we've discussed previously on this channel, Patrick is known not only as a leftist, gay, and women's ally, but also as a classic tough guy who loves guns, bar fights, and fast cars. He's a hardened veteran of bar fights and back alley brawls. Yes, you are hearing that right. Patrick Tomlinson, who's claimed he's a victim of gang stalking and has begged the police on numerous occasions to arrest internet trolls for writing mean things online, is an actual tough guy, and definitely not a wannabe. Just read his Twitter feed and see for yourself. Wrong again, asshole. My mother is quite sweet, and my house is light on closets. I'm just an actual tough guy. No, kiddo. I'm just one of those actual real-life tough guys who will spoon-feed you your teeth. Anytime you want to come to Milwaukee and get publicly humiliated, you are welcome to it. Invitation is open, little one. I can spare the 30 seconds it would take. Ask your wife's boyfriend to fetch your balls down from the jar on the mantel, and we'll see how you do. Stalker, I'm a tough guy all the time. Sober or drunk, internet or in person. And you still just don't learn from your mistakes. You will soon. Like this CCW, baby doll? Been in several, including 2 knife fights, has yet to turn out the way other guy hoped, which you believe has no impact on reality. Your opinion is impotent. Both my intelligence and fighting ability far exceed yours, child. I wouldn't bet on it, turkey. I would, but that's because I have self-awareness. Fuck this kid. In one bizarre instance, Patrick went from begging his followers to report a tweet for violence, acting like a frightened victim, to threatening violence and acting tough himself, all in a single tweet. Report this tweet for threatening physical violence against members of the media like myself. Also, at Sheriff Clark, anytime you want to take a swing at me, you're welcome to try. But it will require you to come back to Milwaukee, and we already ran you out of this town once. A random guy would respond, I'll be your huckleberry. Sheriff Clark won't need to come to you. I will do the job for him. Patrick would write back, bring friends, little one. The guy would reply, won't need them. Whooping your ass WWE style alone will be fun. Patrick would huff back at the man one last time before blocking him out of fear. You don't have them, actually. That's too bad. You would need them, because if you actually moved on me, it wouldn't be a scripted fake fight. It would be very real. In another tweet, Patrick threateningly wrote, I will give you a dog. Wait until your children love it, then kill it. In yet another tweet reply, Patrick would write, don't have a safe space, sweetheart. I make spaces unsafe for people just like you. When you're done liking your own tweets, why don't you go jack off in front of some more school children, you fucking pervert? What's that dumb saying that Patrick has? Every accusation is an admission. I wonder about that one here. Weirdly specific thing to end the tweet with, in my opinion. You think being hit with a milkshake is assault because you're a sissy bitch who has never won a fight in your life? Funnily enough, Patrick thinks calling him fat on Twitter is cyberstalking and terrorism. What a dumb, hypocritical idiot. Fat, too. In addition to pretending to be a tough guy, Patrick also regularly celebrates and promotes political violence. Ballots. Failing that, bullets. Ballots, bullets, or blades. I'm ready for whatever. There is not a single good person who voted for Trump. Not one. In another instance, Patrick celebrated an elderly man being assaulted outside a Planned Parenthood. Breaking. Abortion advocates brutally assault pro-life people. Outside Planned Parenthood, Patrick would write a one-word reply to the tweet. Good. In another tweet, Patrick would write, I feel like people are underestimating the cathartic release of a few good group executions. Let's circle back to a tweet I already showed you earlier in the video. Rape is the most mild punishment you deserve, followed by execution. This tweet was directed towards Roger Stone, one of Donald Trump's political advisors. This is arguably one of the most outrageous and horrendous things Patrick has written on Twitter. He is wishing rape, torture, and execution upon someone simply for being a political advisor to an opposing candidate. It's important to note that Stone is neither a war criminal nor a murderer. He was merely an advisor to Trump at one point. The media often refers to him as a dirty trickster, a label he's had for a long time in the political arena. Wishing such extreme harm on him is not only unreasonable, but also reveals the deeply disturbing and violent tendencies hidden within Patrick's psyche. Another one of his tweets showcases Patrick's idiotic, childlike military strategy, with him suggesting balloons filled with paint could be used to disable Russian tanks. Fun fact, #Ukraine. A water balloon filled with $1 of paint thrown at the periscopes can disable a tank as fast as a $150,000 Javelin missile. Please do have fun. This stupid, childlike fantasy got a lot of attention on Twitter, and not the kind Patrick wanted. Even his own followers called him out for such a moronic idea, including people with actual tank combat experience. Of course, Patrick still refused to admit he was wrong. In another tweet, Patrick wrote like a fat, retarded child, expressing his love of explodey boom booms, killing soldiers during the war. You may think Patrick is a fat slob idiot who had a 1.7 GPA in high school, and you might be right. But according to Patrick, you're wrong, and you're going to prison. My IQ has historically been pinned in the high 130s to low 140 AS. Anything else, you stupid prick? Despite his 1.7 GPA, Patrick totally has an IQ in the 140 AS. That's why he comes off as a genius in his tweets, and totally isn't a fat, hypocritical retard. In 2020, Rick Titz would write, Human trials of any vaccine take a minimum of 18 months to ensure there are no long-term effects. This timeline cannot be accelerated. Trump is telling a dangerous lie that puts your health at risk to benefit his re-election chances. But only just over 12 months later, he had changed his tune completely, when it was Joe Biden shilling for the vaccines. The vaccine has no faults. It is by any measure the safest and most effective vaccine in the history of medicine. Yes, it is vaxxed or anti-vax. One is right, the other is selfish and ignorant. Patrick, predictably, was obsessed with masking and vaccines during the COVID pandemic. He's also a fat-ass bootlicker. In another exchange, a person skeptical of Pat would write, Seems like everyone who disagrees with you is stupid. That's the same argument a 6-year-old would make. Your posts are pathetic and lack facts. Patrick would angrily reply, "If they weren't stupid, they wouldn't be disagreeing with me, child." And as you can see, Patrick not only spends his entire life arguing with trolls, but also showcasing his true idiotic nature at every turn. Funny story, my high school homeroom English teacher once wrote my parents that Patrick would argue with a fence post. He was right, but never realized he was also wrong. Truer things have never been written, as we all know how dedicated Patrick is to wasting his life arguing online. It's amazing how often people say hot take when they really mean brain-dead stupid take. Hot take, I've never thought Norm Macdonald was funny, and was pretty sure all my comedy friends who did were either nuts or screwing with me. As you can see, Patrick has written a lot of really stupid tweets, and has clearly proven that he's a fat idiot. That's all for tonight, and thank you for watching. This has been Cryptic Web Chronicles. Good night.